Hey, shalom, everyone. This is Eliyahu Yasharal here from Just a Word, and welcome once again to another of our vlogs. You can check out our teachings on justaword.org. Today, we are going to look at something that's relatively difficult to explain. I hope I can manage to do it with the help of Yahuwah, so it is understandable. The difference between the commandments, the laws, the statutes, judgments, testimonies, ordinances, all of those terms that are so used, an understanding of them and how they work together. And understanding this will also help us to understand where we stand, where it comes to the law in our new covenant, law in the old covenant. It will give us an understanding of just how so many people have been deceived. All right? We're going to give us an understanding of the misunderstanding of the Seventh-day Adventists, that Christian denomination that believe that they have it all figured out, but they have only gone to a certain depth, need to go more because they have been deceived. So let us go to our slide. Difference between the commandments, laws, statutes, judgments, ordinances, and testimonies. And we have scriptures like these. We're going to ask someone to read, please. We have scriptures like these that we read at times, but many of us don't even go into what it is saying exactly. 2 Kings 17:37. Can someone read, please?
2 Kings 17:37. And the statutes and the ordinances and the law and the commandment, which he wrote for you, ye shall observe to do forevermore, and ye shall not fear other gods.
All right. Continue with Leviticus.
Leviticus 26:46. These are the statutes and judgments and laws which Yahuwah made between him and the children of Israel in Mount Sinai by the hand of Moses.
All right. So here we have mention of the statutes, ordinances, the law, the commandment, statutes, judgments, laws. Yeah, very confusing. And most of us as believers, we go through our time for years upon years and we don't get an understanding of these things. And everything in the Bible is there for a purpose. And understanding each thing will give us a deeper understanding of exactly what they are saying. 2 Kings 17:34. Read, please.
Unto this day they do after the former manners. They fear not Yahuwah, neither do they after their statutes, or after their ordinances, or after the law and commandment, which Yahuwah commanded the children of Jacob, whom he named Israel.
All right, so we see all of them here again. All of them differentiated, and most of us don't understand what they mean. That's what we're going to look at today. Another one of them, 2 Chronicles 33:8. Read, please.
Neither will I any more remove the foot of Israel from out of the land, which I have appointed for your fathers, so that they will take heed to do all that I have commanded them, according to the whole law and the statutes and the ordinances by the hand of Moses.
All right. According to all that I have commanded them, according to the whole law, you have the whole law here, and the statutes and the ordinances by the hand of Moses. So this gives us a kind of structure that we are going to show in a table that is coming up. All that I have commanded, which is called the commandments or the commandment, according to the whole law. This is called the law, and the statutes and the ordinances. So let us look at it, all right? If we see it like this, then we will get a better idea of what it is. All right, first of all, up here we have the commandments, which is also known as the law, or Torah, which are the instructions from the Most High. Now, it is often called the commandment, as we said before. Under the commandments, there are the 10 commandments, and the 10 commandments is a broad umbrella under which all the laws fall. So you have the 10 commandments, and then the laws, such as which is also called the law of Moses. And the laws include different laws, such as the law of tithing. Might seem a little confusing, but we're going to use a worldly example, an example that we used on last Sabbath, to see how our natural laws are structured, to give an understanding of this. And the laws contain the statutes, all right? And the statutes, of course, include ordinances, judgments, and testimonies. We're going to show all of these. So we will highlight what we just saw using an example from the laws of Jamaica. So the commandment here, these laws of Jamaica would be like the broad umbrella, which would be like the commandments, the law, the Torah. This is it. The entire law would be the broad umbrella. Then we're going to look now at the similitude to the 10 commandments. Then under that, we're going to look at the similitude to the laws or to the law. And then we're going to look at the similitude to the statutes. So first, the commandments or the law, the similitude, of course. Let me leave this. All right, so we are at this website. All of the laws would be called the commandment or the commandments or the law or Torah. This is a similitude. Now we have the 10 commandments, and then this is a similitude to the 10 commandments, right? These are the similitude, the broad umbrellas under which the laws fall. So these would be like the 10 commandments which have under them the different laws. And like these laws, we have the laws regarding children. So the laws regarding children, let's see this, would be like the laws regarding children would be like these different laws. Tithing law, children law, law of agriculture. That's what it would be like in this, in the natural realm. Then of course, we have the statutes. So we click under children, under the laws, and it takes us to the acts. Now these acts are the similitude of statutes. And let's go back to our diagram to see the similitude of the statutes. So this is where we are at the statutes. And these statutes, of course, contain ordinances, judgments, and testimonies. So let's go back to the level of the statutes. Yes, so this would be like the level of the statutes. So if we click this, Child Care Protection Act, if we click here, then we are actually now in the statutes, or in the act as they call it in the natural world. And the statute contains, as we said, ordinances, judgments. So ordinances would be like, we're going to look at the meanings of them further on, but I just want to give a broad thing here. In these acts or in these statutes, it would have the directions, the instructions, which are the ordinances, and it also has the judgments, which is what will happen if you break the law or you break the statutes. Okay? So just using this, for example, I also used 11 and 4 to show the judgment. Just to give an example of a judgment. A person who contravenes subsection 2 or 3 commits an offense and shall be liable upon summary conviction before a resident magistrate to a fine not exceeding $500,000 or to imprisonment to a term not exceeding 6 months or to both such fine and imprisonment. This is a judgment. So the statutes contain the ordinances or the instructions, and it also contains the punishment for them, which are the judgments. Are you with me so far?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So let's get back to the slide where we go into more detail with it. All right. So Deuteronomy 33:4. Read, please.
Moses commanded us a law, even the inheritance of the congregation of Jacob.
All right. Why I'm saying it's very difficult to explain this is because of the languages that are used. But Moses commanded us a law. So the law is actually commanded, but the law is also called the commandment. So we're going to look at the meaning of the word command. And it's 86680, Sarah, primitive root, to constitute, to enjoin, to appoint, to bid, to give a charge, to give or give in or send with command or commandment, send a messenger, to put in order. So command actually there means to give a charge, to kind of order someone to do something. So a commandment is actually an order that is given, a charge that is given by the Most High for us to do something. So he commanded us the law, he ordered us, he charged us to obey the law. That's the difference between the commandment and the law. They can be both be used interchangeable, and both actually can mean the same thing. But when the word commandment is used, it is actually to remind us and to instruct us to remember that it is not an advice. It is a command. That is what we must bear in mind. And so a law is there, but we must be reminded that the law is commanded. And the meaning of law, let's look at Deuteronomy 33:4 again. We said Moses commanded us a law. So let's look at the meaning of a law. And it's H8451, which is Torah. And Torah is a precept or statute. And it can also refer to the 10 Commandments or Decalogue, or the Pentateuch, or the first 5 books of the Bible. So it is wide. So it can also mean a precept or a statute, which is why I say it's very hard. Something this you have to really study, something you have to really take in carefully, because it's easy to get confused, because some terms are used interchangeably and some terms can you refer to both things. So you have to know when it is referring to what, all right? So when we see in Exodus 16:8, read it please.
Exodus 16 verse 28. And Yahuwah said unto Moses, how long refuse ye to keep my commandments and my laws?
So, how long refuse ye to keep my commandments and my laws? Right here they are separated, and at times they are used as one. But for us to understand what a verse like this means, we have to also understand the meaning of keep. So let's go. Meaning of keep, H8104, shamar, a primitive root, properly to hedge about, as with thorns, that is guard. We're going to see that when the commandments are referred to, when it is referred to as commandments, it is a reminder or instruction to us to protect, to guard, to safeguard his Torah, to safeguard his word, to safeguard his law, right? So that is guard, generally to protect, to attend to. These are all the things that you do with his commandments and with his laws. To attend to, beware, be circumspect, take heed, keep, mark, look narrowly, observe, preserve, regard, reserve, save, sure, wait, watch. So you do all of these things with the law. This is what it means to keep his commandments and to keep his laws. Yeah? Protect it, guard it. Make sure no one abuses it. Make sure no one says it's done away with.
Yeah.
And so we go back to the verse. How long refuse ye to keep my commandments? How long refuse ye to guard my commandments and my laws? So we're going to look closer at what commandments means here. Meaning of commandments. H4687 is mitzvah. From H6680, which means a command, we just looked at H6680. Whether human or divine, collectively the law. So here we see the commandment can mean the entire law, which was commanded, law, ordinance, precept. So the commandments can also mean precept, ordinance, very wide. And it can also mean the entire law. So when we go here, Deuteronomy 32:46, read please.
To them, set your hearts unto all the words which I testify among you this day, which ye shall command your children to observe to do, all the words of this law.
All right, so that is it. We are commanded. He said he testified. That means it is a testimony against us. And it is commanded that we observe all the words of this law. So when it refers to the commandment, Seventh-day Adventists say the commandment means the 10 commandments. That's not what it means. The commandment actually means all the words of this law. All right? So we go back to this. The commandments, the law, the Torah instructions, they include and they are headed by the 10 commandments. And the 10 commandments head the law, and the law head the statutes. So we're going to continue down. Meaning of commandments, again, we said a precept or a statute, especially Decalogue or Pentateuch. We look at that. So let's go now to Leviticus 18:1. That is going to actually summarize all of this together. Leviticus 18:1-5.
And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them that I am Yahuwah your Allah. After the doings of the land of Egypt, wherein ye dwelt, shall ye not do. And after the doings of the land of Canaan, whither I bring you, shall ye not do. Neither shall ye walk in their ordinances. Ye shall do my judgments and keep my ordinances. To walk therein, I am Yahuwah your Allah. Ye shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, which if a man do, he shall live in them. I am Yahuwah.
All right. So we look at the meaning of ordinance and statute. Your spiritual heart has to be on, but because it's very hard, because the names, the meanings are interchangeable. Some things mean more than one, because the word for statute is also used for the word for ordinance. And so when statute and ordinance are used, you have to know when it means, it gets the meaning of statute, or when it gets another meaning that we should show. It is actually hokah, and meaning substantially the same: appointed, custom, manner, ordinance, site, statute. It also means statute, and it means ordinance. So when you go here, and it says, you must not do after the doings of the land of Canaan, whither I bring you, shall ye not do, neither shall you walk in their ordinances. It's actually saying, neither shall you walk in their customs. Ye shall do my judgments and keep mine ordinances. All right? Keep my statutes, my instructions to walk therein.
So, Brother B.
Yes.
So you say we have to be mindful, because in some areas, statutes can mean something different from what we think it is, right?
It and ordinance has the same meaning at times.
Oh.
Just
but
as how...
Would it be the same example with live and live? The same spelling, but mean we have to know when to use it?
It's more like the same with commandments and laws. So sometimes the commandments mean that just is instruction to remind us of that which is commanded, but sometimes it is actually referring to the law itself.
Okay.
So sometimes the statutes refer to the broad umbrella that the laws are under. And sometimes it refers to the ordinances, sections of the statutes themselves. I hope it gets clearer as we play out, because I guess maybe we look into more meanings, it will play out, hopefully. All right. So ordinance and statutes are the same meaning as we all saw. So we're going to look at the meaning of judgment. And judgment is mishpat, properly a verdict, a sentence or formal decree, penalty, and it's the same usage that we have in English language. You pass judgment, all right? You come to a conclusion, and you pass a sentence on someone. That's more or less the judgment. So let's hope it fits in more now when we look back into this. Ye shall do my judgments, all right? His judgments are those things that he said we must not do, and if we don't do it, then this will happen. All right? So if you follow his judgments, then you will do the right thing and you will avoid the penalty. And keep my ordinances, and we said the ordinances are his statutes, his customs, his instructions. All right? Ye shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments. So let's go here now to the map and see, let us look down at statutes. We're going to go back over all of it and try to fit it back in. So the statutes consist of ordinances, judgments, and testimonies. So let's go back in the real world again and see if I can bring us to a reminder. We said the statutes, the act would be like the statutes, so like the Child Care Protection Act, and then these instructions would be the ordinances. Let me get. On receiving a report about a child under Section 6, the registrar shall assess the information in the report, and after such assessment may refer the report to the children's advocate and the government agency. All these are the ordinances. And earlier, we had shown the judgment that if you do this, you will receive a fine as to such and such. And the testimony would be, we're going to show the testimony in scripture as well, so that we can understand what actually constitute the statutes. All right, so we looked at the ordinances, we look at the judgments. In the scriptures, we will look at the testimonies themselves, because we're going to look at all of these in the brackets to try and make it, these verses in the brackets to try and make it more clear. So Ezekiel 11:20.
That they may walk in my statutes and keep mine ordinances and do them, and they shall be my people, and I will be their Allah.
They shall walk in my ordinances. So ordinance is mishpat. This, I said, is interchangeable because ordinance can mean statute, but ordinances here actually is the same meaning for judgment, which is mishpat. And we said a verdict, a sentence, a formal decree. All right? So it's very important to get the understanding. So what it's saying here, that they may walk in my statutes and keep my ordinances. And as we said, the statutes contain the ordinances and the judgment. Right here, it is grouping the ordinances and the judgments together. Right? So instead of saying, you shall keep my ordinances and my judgments, it actually just says, you shall keep my ordinances. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Yeah, don't want to lose it because it's easy to lose it. So his statutes and his ordinances. In 1 Ezra 8, verse 7.
Well, Ezra had a very great skill, so that he omitted nothing of the law and commandments of Yahuwah, but taught all Israel the ordinances and judgments.
All right, this is it right here. He taught Israel all the ordinances and the judgments, the statutes. Right, and he was very skilled and he omitted nothing from the law and the commandments. These here. In other words, Ezra taught them the whole law. Go back to it. He omitted nothing of the law and commandments of Yahuwah, but taught all Israel the ordinances and the judgments, the instructions and the judgments. Right. But there also are testimonies, the testimonies. So let's go, Deuteronomy 6, verse 17.
You shall diligently keep commandments of Yahuwah your Elohim, and his testimonies, and his statutes, which he hath commanded.
All right. So we hear, you shall diligently keep the commandments, and his testimonies, and his statutes, which he commanded you. So the statutes, the testimonies here, and the statutes, and remember, it's the same meaning for ordinances at times interchanged with statutes. All right? So what we're actually seeing is that you cannot keep the whole law unless you keep the statutes. Very, very important, because we have the Seventh-day Adventists who are telling us that they keep the law. And when you ask them what law do they keep, they start saying that they only keep the 10 Commandments. If you are only keeping the 10 Commandments, you are not actually keeping the law. Because the law contains the statutes, the ordinances, the judgments, the testimonies, and all of those you have to keep. You understanding me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, meaning of testimony. It's Edah, feminine of age 57 or 7 in its technical sense, testimony or witness.
It's testimony.
Yeah, the testimony is a witness. So when we see this, Deuteronomy 4:45, read please.
These are the testimonies and the statutes and the judgments which Moses spake unto the children of Israel after they came forth out of Egypt.
Okay. So we have the testimonies here, we have the statutes here, and we have the judgments here. All right? Testimonies, the judgments, and the statutes, ordinances. All right? So what we just saw in Deuteronomy 4:45 was a summary of what the law contains. And the law contains the ordinances, the statutes, the judgments, and the testimonies. So keeping the 10 Commandments alone is no good, because that's not what Moses proclaimed. All right? Because the 10 Commandments, as you said, is a broad umbrella. And so the law was proclaimed, the law of Moses was proclaimed in order to give the statute, ordinances, judgments, and testimonies that are needed to support the 10 Commandments.
I have a question. All right. So, okay, so with the 10 Commandments, right? If anyone is willing and love the laws, love to be obedient, and thrive to obey the Most High, is it safe to say if we look on the commandments, the 10 Commandments, right, we would automatically end up obeying all the laws and statutes?
We won't.
We would.
If you do what?
Okay, for a person who wants to be obedient to the Most High,
yeah,
and want to obey all his laws and statutes,
yeah,
the fact that some are saying it is only 10, but let's say you, for example, you just love to obey the Most High.
yeah.
By living, knowing about the 10 Commandments, you will automatically end up obeying all the laws of the Most High. Because that is who you want to be obedient to the Most High in all things.
No, you wouldn't.
You would not?
No, because if you have had conversations with Seventh-day Adventists since you came into more truth, a higher level of truth, then you would have realized that. For example, yeah, Deuteronomy 22:5, for example, the woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man, neither shall a man put on a woman's garment, for all that do so are abomination unto Yahuwah thy Elohim. I don't know about all the Seventh-day Adventists, but I know some of them totally disregard this. I'm just using this as an example. And of course, another one here, Leviticus 19:27. Ye shall not round the corners of your heads, neither shalt thou mar the corners of thy beard. They don't really care about this because it's not in the 10 Commandments, right?
Yeah.
When you just look at the 10 Commandments and you don't go into the statutes, then we have a problem, because you will be sinning against the Most High, and the Most High charged us to keep his laws, his commandments, and his statutes. And we're going to look, because we're ending very soon, we're going to look and see that our call in the new covenant is for us to keep his statutes.
Brother Brian.
Yes?
I'm sorry. I think I get the ordinances. It would be the instructions on how to carry out the law, you know. I think I understand that, but I don't think I get the statute. I don't understand that.
All right. The statutes a statute is like a broad heading of a law. So you have a law, and under each law you have a subsection. For example, you have laws that say pertain to children. Then you have different subsections of laws that deal with children.
Okay.
So that's why I use let me go back to the worldly example. So for example here, you have the different laws. You have law for agriculture, law for Caribbean community, law for children. So I was showing you that this would be the laws that pertain to children. Then when you click on it, when you go inside the law now, then there are different statutes that deal with children. They call it Act. So this is Status of Children Act, the Child Care and Protection Act, Adoption, Guardian, Early Childhood, Legitimization, Child Diversion. So each of these will be called a statute.
So would that also be the same same as branches of the law then?
But if you can say it that way, Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm trying to understand also, because I'm picturing I'm trying to picture it a certain way, to see if it is really the same as, okay, because you just give an example about the child law and all those things.
Yeah.
And from that law you have all these things. So it is like a breakout or a broken out from the same law. You have other branches that sprung off.
Yes.
Those would be.
Yeah. Here's it now. You have commandments. Then the commandments in the Bible. In the commandments divided into 10 commandments. And each of the 10 commandments now would be broken down in different laws to deal with each of those 10 commandments.
Okay.
Then under each law now, you have the statutes that are broken out for under each law to deal with each law.
Exactly. I get it. And the reason why I was asking the question like this, sometimes ago, maybe a month or two, I was teaching on the very, very same thing. I said there's 10 commandments, but they all sprung off a lot more than this 10 commandments.
Yeah.
So what I was referring to is the statutes then.
Yes.
Okay.
So here it is. The 10 commandments, and the 10 commandments are broken down into different laws, and the laws are broken down into different statutes, and the statutes are comprised of ordinances, judgments, and testimonies.
Okay, I definitely understand the ordinances, judgment, and testimony. Yeah. Okay, I got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand it the way how Wayne just said it. Yeah. So, right. Yeah. So, Brother Brand, when you talk about Jubilee, right? So, Jubilee would be the law, and the different areas of Jubilee would be the statutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, go ahead, Wayne.
No, I'm just saying it is not so difficult as it seemed in the first part.
Yeah. That's why I say as we go along.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. As we go along, it should get very easy. But the most important thing to understand is this, is that this is no good without these. The 10 commandments is no good without the laws, the statutes, etc.
Right. Yes, exactly.
It's
because
one big happy family. Go ahead.
Yeah, what happened is, the example I used was the umbrella. All right? Yeah. And when the umbrella is closed, when it is closed, that is the 10 commandment, right? But now the rain started to fall, and you open the umbrella, all those spokes branch out.
Yes.
They all come from the same umbrella.
Yes.
Those would be the statutes of the umbrella.
Yeah,
so,
that's it.
So when he asked earlier about if you follow the 10 commandments, that means you would, because I kind of was thinking the same thing just now. Following the 10 commandments, you would still violate the statutes at some point if you only follow the.
Yes.
Okay.
But Brother Brian.
Yes.
With that, and also the reason why I asked the question that way. You see, for the ones who are limiting their obedience to the 10 commandments, are the ones that would end up missing out. But as I was trying to explain or ask earlier, if you're a person who love and want to obey the Most High commandment, you will gradually drive into obeying all those statutes also.
But if you don't know the statutes, how are you going to obey them? If you reject the statutes, how are you going to obey them?
No, but you see, if the commandments, right?
Yeah.
Let's say back to the child law.
Yeah.
All right. And there are some, they open the book and you see the child. If you is a citizen who is law abiding, all right, and say, okay, fine, I will obey the child law. You will not say, you know what, only if the child do this, I'm gonna do that. You will be open to everything about the child law. So if you do that now, you will automatically obey the statutes.
Nope.
No?
You can't obey. You can't obey that which you don't know. You can't obey that which you don't know. And
Can I?
Let me say something. Yahuwah's statutes, you can't use a real life situation to generalize its statutes. You have to know them. That's why it says my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. if you don't know that if you round the corners of your head and shave the corners of your beard, it is a sin, then you are going to follow Babylon and do it. Yeah, the Seventh-day Adventists, they do not observe that. You understand? Because what? Because they are here following the traditions and they think they are righteous without observing his statutes.
Okay, I fully get it. What I was trying to point out is that person to be open, that when they get to realize that this is also a part of it, then they would adjust.
Okay, but I'm going to tell you something.
Yes.
I'm going to tell you something now. When you're in religion, that does not happen. That is why the Seventh-day Adventists are these are hardest people to deal with. Because they think they know it all and they just follow what their religion says and that's it. You cannot convince them otherwise.
I want to chip in, Brother Brian.
Yeah.
What you're saying is 100% is 100% right. Because I mean, on a generalized platform, on a generalized scale, looking at how people obey the laws, right? Yeah. Usually you realize that when one gets into trouble and they're in the courtroom, they often say to the judge, "But I didn't know this was how in depth the law meant. I didn't know that this was how broad the law was. You know, so it's almost as if they knew. You know the law, but you don't know the law to its detail, right? You assume you know the law because JC has said that." JC has summed up the entire law into love. But now you don't know what love entails. And so because you don't know what love entails, you would walk doing certain things and assuming that, oh, just because you are giving money to people, you have been practicing the law. And another part of this also goes to the idea, you know, the commands you put there about the Levitical diet, right? Now, I shared that on my Facebook wall, and the gentleman comes to say, I didn't know that salmon or something was also not edible. You know, so people, those who know about the law of the dietary law, let me use that as an example, haven't taken their time to carefully look, because you see, you don't want to end up in Yahweh's bad books. And anyone who doesn't want to end up in Yahweh's bad book sits down to go into the details of wanting to. That is why it says, though, if you diligently seek me, right? It says, those who diligently seek me. And diligently means that you sit down with a fine detail and you look at every single fine detail, because when they say do not eat a certain food, you need to be asking yourself, what are these foods? But people assume that no, certainly what I've always known to be eaten is the one that it should be right. I mean, automatically it should be right. Food is food. Many people eat birds, and as to which birds we are supposed to be eating, people don't really look critically into that. So a lot of people look at the law with the mindset that, oh, it should be obvious, but it's not obvious.
Yeah.
Because if you're looking at the 10 commandments, you are never going to know that you're not supposed to edge around your head. Because the 10 Commandments doesn't go into such details. It gives you broader details about the law, but as in the minute everyday life, how to go about everyday life, how to speak, how to act, how to dress, how to smile, how to, all the detail aspect comes in the subheadings underneath the bigger categories. So one has to really love Yah enough to sit down and be mindful, because it takes diligence to want to sit down and to really know to the T what will make Yah happy, what Yah's commands are actually saying.
Yeah, and that is why, this is why the Most High several times he gave these instructions in scriptures.
Unto this day, they do after the former manners. They fear not the Lord. Sorry, they fear not Yahweh. Neither do they after their statutes, or after their ordinances, or after the law and commandment which Yahweh commanded the children of Jacob, whom he named Israel.
So what you are seeing here, the Most High is actually telling us that we have to keep all of them. The statutes, the ordinances, the law, and commandment. Right, Wayne?
Mm-hmm.
So what they are doing, what the Seventh-day Adventists, they will only see law and commandment, and they assume and say the law is the 10 commandments. But they are not going after the statutes, not after the ordinances. They reject them.
Yeah, it's just that I forgot that they are religion, because I was thinking that when they are told or shown these things to be, also to be observed, that they might have started to observe them. But I just forgot that they are just who they are. I will not change for the most part of it.
Yes. So they defend the religion to the T.
Yeah, they do.
So it is what my religion says, what Ellen White says, and what my pastor says, and nothing else. Anything else is defended away. They call it, for example, if you come to them and talk about fringes, they will laugh at you and tell you that is ceremonial. Yeah? That is ceremonial. Yeah.
Yeah, because we are taught the 10 commandments from early childhood. We don't. I've never looked at the law in detail, as an even till this very moment. This is only the time when I really sat down to look at the law to its T, and I realized, you know what? Should I have perished back then? I would have perished for no good reason, for ignorance.
Yes, for ignorance. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Yeah.
So that is why when people say stuff to us that's crazy, we should see it as something good, because if they see us in fringes, they're going to say that we are crazy.
Yes.
But it's supposed to be like that, because we are not supposed to be like the world.
Yes.
We should be dressing like them, acting like them. So if they are not calling us crazy, something is not right. you know, something is not right. If everything seems to be so cool in their side, something is just not right, and we must check ourselves to see where are we lacking.
That's right.
Because they are supposed to be calling us names. They should be looking at us crazy and telling lies on us and all those things. They should be doing that. So, everyone just be prepared for these things. And if these are not happening, we must check ourselves.
Yep.
All right. So when we go back to what you originally says, 2 Kings 1:17-37, read it, please. Our minds are supposed to be much clearer on this. Read, please.
And the statutes and the ordinances and the law and the commandments which we wrote for you, ye shall observe to do forevermore, and ye shall not fear other gods.
Notice he said forevermore. All right?
Yeah.
No limitations on them. And it's not only the law and the commandment. It is the statutes and the ordinances as well. All right?
But, Brother Brian, isn't it strange how because everything to a Christian is not literal. That's where the problem starts from.
Yeah.
That is why one will look at forevermore, and still say forevermore does not mean forevermore.
Yeah.
Everlasting does not mean everlasting.
Yeah.
Because the Messiah came and there was a new covenant, and so everything is gone, it's done away with.
Yeah.
And I think that is a problem. I think the curse in Deuteronomy 28 is still taking effect on us, because this tongue, the stammering lips that we have been given, we still don't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
So we are reading in this tongue that we were given, and so many people cannot really grasp the intensity to having to hold on and meditate on Yahweh's laws, because many times he said to his people, meditate on this day and night, meditate on it day and night, do this and you will be blessed, do this and you will prosper. And for some reason I'm trying to defend my ignorance in the past because of that remark, that statement of the Messiah came and it's all done away with, because that is how it sounds. Because every time I'll come up with the laws and discuss with even pastors, it is the exact same thing. You cannot practice the law. You cannot live by the law. You cannot do this. You will die. And I'm like, but how?
All right. Ezekiel 11:17-21. What I'm going to show now is that the new covenant was for us to walk in the statutes and the judgments. So now that we say we are in Messiah, we should now be walking in the statutes and the judgments. Yeah, but most of us are not. Most of us reject them. This is what we should be walking in today, because now we know the statutes and the judgments.
Therefore say, that says the Master, I will even gather you from the people and assemble you out of the countries where ye have been scattered, and I will give you the land of Israel.
Has this happened as yet? Has this happened as yet?
Nope.
All right, continue.
He says will, and if he says will, it doesn't happen as yet.
All right, go ahead.
Ezekiel 11:18. And they shall come thither, and they shall take away all the detestable things thereof, and all the abominations thereof from thence. And I will give them one heart, and I will put a new spirit within you, and I will take the stony heart out of their flesh, and will give them an heart of flesh,
Continue.
that they may walk in my statutes and keep my ordinances and do them, and they shall be my people, and I will be their Aloha, the Elohim.
You see that? Game, set, and match. So we now should be walking in the statutes and keeping the ordinances and do them. This is what our new covenant is for. Read 21.
If you're not doing them, you are not his people.
Exactly. Verse 21.
But as for them whose heart walketh after the heart of their detestable things and their abominations, I will recompense their way upon their own heads.
You see that?
Yahuwah.
So those who don't walk in the statutes and the ordinances and do them are going to be adjudged as walking in their own hearts and walking after detestable things. Confirmation again. In the mouth of two witnesses. Boy, what this Bible says, almost the entire world don't get it.
A new heart also will I give you, and a new spirit will I put within you. And I will take away the stony heart out of your flesh, and I will give you an heart of flesh. 27. And I will put my spirit within you, and cause you to walk in my statutes, and ye shall keep my judgments and do them.
You see that? Once again, verse 28.
And ye shall dwell in the land that I give to your fathers, and ye shall be my people, and I'll be your Aloha.
So this has not happened as yet again. So the new covenant is for us to walk in the statutes and the judgments and these ordinances, all right? So anyone out there that's saying that it's only the 10 commandments or the law is done away with, that is even worse. Those that are saying that the law is done away with are really, really committing spiritual suicide. But we always have to remind even those who read this, Revelation 14:12.
Here's the patience of the saint. Here are they that keep the commandments of Yahuwah and the faith of Yahusha.
Now this commandments right here is the broad umbrella, meaning everything that is commanded. Right? Which brings us right here. Which brings up right here. Blessed are they that keep the commandments, which include the 10 commandments, the laws, the statutes, the ordinances, the judgments, and the testimonies. These are they who are blessed, and these are they who will enter the kingdom. All right? Always have to end what we're doing when it comes to commandments with these verses. Revelation 22:14.
Revelation 22:14. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have rights to the tree of life and may enter in through the gates into the city.
Again, his commandments is a general term for, let's go there again, is a general term. Blessed are they that do his commandments, which include the 10 commandments, the laws, the statutes, the ordinances, the judgments, and the testimonies. Seventh-day Adventists, they love to quote this verse, thinking that the commandments are only the 10 commandments. Yes? Because they don't have the understanding of the deeper aspects of it.
You know, Brother B.
Yes.
I'm going to say something, and it even applies to us in the group here. Even if there is one. What happens is, even if it comes to you in any way questionable about all these laws, there's one question we can ask, even ourselves. Even if some of these are not to be kept, if I keep it, will it be a sin? And the answer is going to be no. So guess what happened? Let's do it then. And with that, you cannot lose. You cannot lose, because as long as it is not a sin and it is obeying, you can't lose. Can't lose.
Yep.
We have to have this mindset, because sometimes we forget our purpose here. Sometimes we are trying to go about our purpose and get in trouble, you know? It is not our will. So the most we can do for ourselves and our family, our children, is just to be that example of being obedient to the Most High in all things.
Mm-hmm.
If he sent his son to walk this earth, to go through all these things and die for us, and all he's asking back from us, obey me, no man, just obey. Do you want to live? Yes, yes. Obey me. That's basically, you know.
Yeah, you made the right thing. You said the right thing. We cannot be chastised for being zealous to obey. There is no record of anyone. Somebody can tell me if I'm mistaken, of anyone in Scripture who has been chastised for being zealous of doing the law of the Most High.
In fact, you will be rewarded. You will be overly rewarded.
Yes.
Because it says those who come to me must believe that I am a rewarder of them who diligently seek me.
Yes.
So that is what diligence looks like. You don't spare any detail. You do every single thing. Whether you understand them or you don't understand them, you do them, because you cannot perish for righteousness.
Mm-hmm. That's
exactly,
it.
Yep.
All right, so we've come to the end once again of another of our vlogs. All right, so this is Eliyahu Yasharal from Just a Word. You can check out more of our teachings on justaword.org. Please like, subscribe, comment, share our videos. And thanks again for watching, and stay tuned for our other videos in our series. All right, so until next time, shalom.